Hi, and welcome to Perfectly Wasted. It's a new podcast that I'm trying. This is episode one about cosplay. I'm the host, DullOxide. You can find more videos of me on Drinking Wise Men. You can see pictures of me on my Instagram at DullOxide. And I also do another bi weekly podcast called Brew the Truth. Today we're going to be talking about cosplay. I'm relatively new to cosplay. I made my first props and my first cosplay just last year as Zoro from AX is what I debuted. It's the second cosplay ever that I've ever done. I ran into some problems along the way. I'm going to talk about them briefly here, and we're going to talk a little bit about men in cosplay and things like that, just very generally. So first off, with my cosplay as Zoro, I did the time skip Zoro. So he has a costume that's kind of like it's kind of like a kimono, kind of like a robe, and there really aren't too many designs for it. So I had to make my own pattern, which I basically based off of someone else's pattern that they said they were making something similar. So the only issue that I ran into is that in the end, when I was sewing everything together, the end result was gigantic. It just looked like a giant Harry Potter robe on me, and it kind of didn't quite fit. And as you know, Zoro's robe is more form fitting, so I had to take it in multiple times and try and make it work for what I had. Along with the challenges of the robe, I was at the same time making my swords, and there are some really good sword tutorials out there, and I used a couple of them. But in the end, I had to do a couple of things that were just different because the best tutorials that I found were a couple of years old, and they didn't really cover everything, and I had to find different ways that I thought were better for me to be able to go through and utilize. And it made it kind of difficult to go through. One of the things was, since I was just starting, I went ahead and my initial sword cut was really messed up. Towards the middle, it kind of showed the angle really extremely, and then towards the tip of the blade, it really thinned out. You can see there in the before picture on the left, and then on the right is what I ended up with three wooden swords that are about that thickness that look really cool as the end result. And it's kind of really cool how I did it. I went through, and my girlfriend, she went through in Photoshop and she traced all of the concept art for all three of the swords. One of the swords is very basic, so it didn't really have anything, and that's how I got the flame design and the shark tooth design on these. Now, one of the challenges I did run into is that spray paint acts pretty volatile towards itself if you get two different kind of curing paints, or two different chemical paints. So what I found was most of my paints didn't have a very bad reaction to each other. The only exception being the silvered paint and the purple paint on the sword to the left did kind of leave some waves on it. And I first noticed it when I tried to paint all my sheaths. It was when I tried to spray gloss on them. I had ripples and tears in the paint everywhere as soon as it started to try and dry after a couple of seconds. The problem is that you have to wait a couple of minutes for the paint to start showing this, so you don't really see it. And in reality, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to spray it and then let it cure over about 5 day to a week period. And I just didn't have the time at the time. I rushed everything, did it kind of last minute, and in that respect, I guess I'm kind of like how veteran cosplayers do it. They kind of rush things and they get things all together. But since they have more experience, they probably run into this and know not to screw this up. So in the end, my results were really cool. It's not completely finished, unfortunately, and I still have to go over and gloss them. But I did go ahead and cosplay at two events, and the two events that I cosplayed at were Anime Expo and at ALA. I was kind of considering not cosplaying at ALA because the amount of time that it took to chalk my hair initially, which people I guess don't really talk about, it took like an hour and a half to chalk my hair initially. And the lower picture is my Anime Expo cosplay, and the top picture is my ALA cosplay. You could see I've put on some weight between the two. I'm not nearly as cut as I was, but I am trying to bulk so I can have more to show for it at this next coming Anime Expo. So I have started cutting down again to try and get back into that form. And for this one, I went ahead and I used spray chalk, which the color is a lot more vibrant and it's not quite the same color I wanted. In the Anime Expo photo that's here, you can't really tell. It's actually a lighter color green. The person that took the picture darkened it. So it's more of like a mint color, but it doesn't really show that good because unfortunately chalk just doesn't show that well in this manner. So if I do it again, which I plan to do again in AX, I may either use that spray or a mint colored spray, but I need to find one first. So that was one of the things that I was a little bit worried about. Also, I was considering not cosplaying at ALA because I felt like I was a little bit more overweight, so I didn't really have as much to show for it. But since I had spent so many hours on this cosplay, I felt like I really wanted to because I spent a lot of time on it. The cosplay still fit me, and the swords really I was really proud of. So I went ahead and decided to do that. And in the end, I ended up having a really fun time. So I think that that's probably something that's worth doing. That being said, it's really, I feel like it's kind of difficult for guys to cosplay. I feel like a lot of guys that do cosplay probably maybe don't make their own stuff. And I feel a little bit strongly about that, to be honest. I'm not an elitist or a perfectionist or anything like that. And, if there's something that I can't make, then I'll either try and learn how to do it, or if I have to, I guess I'll go through and have somebody make it for me. But I'm always wanting to try and learn how to do things a new way or to do new things for that matter. So doing the swords was a challenge and I really enjoyed doing it, but it was pretty difficult. And sewing the pattern wasn't too difficult because I did have some sewing experience prior to that. So I was able to do that pretty well, actually. It's just some things was you just have to make. He wears a sash around his waist and he also wears a belly warmer. And while you can find kind of patterns for that, not a lot of patterns really look the part for it. So I had to just, wing it and go from there. And my end result I thought was really good. So I just feel like with male cosplay, it's much harder. I felt like for AX, I had to really be in shape to portray the character well so that people would really want to take photos of me. I mean, in reality, my swords looked probably good enough that they would have wanted to even if I wasn't in shape, and I kind of get that effect from my ALA cosplay where I didn't really feel like I was in really great shape. I'm not severely out of shape, but you can tell just even in my face I had put on some weight. Also in my ab area, you could see inside of the Anime Expo photo, you could really see the definition that's coming off my side, and inside of the ALA photo you can't, and that's somewhat due to light and things like that. But I definitely did put on some weight between then, so I felt a little bit ashamed to cosplay. Now I could have worn the top up, but I kind of overheat a lot when I wear too many layers, so I would have ended up sweating through it and it would not have really looked as good. So in the end I just ended up going shirtless again. I didn't look terrible and I didn't look great, but a lot of people took pictures and I'm glad I made the decision in the end. I would recommend to anyone that is looking to cosplay, don't be ashamed of yourself. I mean, I know everyone's going to be, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So go out and do it. That being said, I am considering doing some cosplays here in the future. I haven't nailed any down yet, really, but I'm really looking forward to trying to do some new things. Some of the characters I'm looking forward to doing, I might do Genos from One Punch Man. The only difficulty is that he wears, if I do him, the contacts for him are full eye contacts, and the full eye contacts, they are not really prescription. So I wear contacts and glasses or glasses, so I'd basically be blind doing it. Additionally, his arms are essentially armor. They're cyborg arms, so they're armor, and I've never made armor before, but I'd be willing to learn how. I just think that's going to be kind of difficult for the time frame to be able to perfect it before Anime Expo, which is about half a year away, but I just don't really have the free time. Next is Red from Pokemon, who's basically a closet cosplay. It's super simple, so I think that I could knock that out and do that in an event. I understand that I wouldn't be actually making most of it myself because it seems kind of silly to make your own shirt, and hats really I think would be kind of difficult to do. But you know what? For the fun of it, I'll probably do it. It'll probably be co-cosplay with my girlfriend as Leaf, so it should be fun. And then I'm also considering Archer from Fate's Day Night. Kind of a difficult cosplay. It looks like it's going to be kind of warm. I'd probably only do the swords and not the bow, but I think it's a badass cosplay, so I might really try to do that. And lastly, if I do get in good enough shape, I am considering doing Sun from RWBY, and I think that'll be really fun. Also, the only difficulty is really going to be his weapon because everything else he wears is pretty basic. So I'm considering all of these and I'm looking for other options on what to cosplay. So if you have any suggestions, please go ahead and comment. You can contact me directly. You can send me a message on Instagram or leave it on the channel on this video, whatever you want to do. So if you are considering cosplaying, I'd say definitely give it a try, even if you need to have someone teach you how to sew or how to make props. There's tons of videos out there. I'd say give it a try. Try it on your own. If you can't do it, you could always pay somebody to do it, and it's a lot of fun even if you don't make it yourself. So that's the episode. It was all on cosplay. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other channel and see my other videos. And that was 10 minutes perfectly wasted. Thank you.